You're watching another episode of Gardening Australia from the Shed. Check us out on ABC iView for more full episodes. Hello and welcome to Gardening Australia, where this week the focus is all about the pleasure that gardening brings. John will be visiting a garden that's been designed for pure enjoyment on every level. For Sophie, it's all about fragrant plants. She'll be planting some and showing us how to maintain others.
I was 60 when I first...
And I'll be visiting someone who only started to garden when he was 60. Proving it's never too late to catch the gardening bug. But first tonight, Jane's with a passionate gardener who proves that even in a rental property, you can create a vibrant and productive garden.
I'm visiting Millie Ross's garden. She's an author, a broadcaster and a researcher for Gardening Australia. I've known Millie for years and she's one of the most passionate people. She really loves gardens and plants. Hey Millie, I have worked with you for so many years but I've never been to your house.
I know, we talk about my garden all the time on the phone, but it was about time you came to visit, I figured.
Millie's garden is on a larger than average suburban block in Melbourne's inner west. And it's a busy place that is always bustling with housemates, dogs, cats, chooks and visitors. How long have you been here?
It's nearly 2 years.
And so you came here, there was nothing here?
Well, there was plenty of big trees, so this was a very loved garden in its time. So I had great fruit trees. We've got a cherry and an apricot and a nectarine and 3 lemon trees. But yeah, look, I've just tried to make use of every little pocket of light that I could find in between the trees and every bit of space I can.
And you're renting?
Yes.
So that means things have to be able to be moved.
Well, a little bit.
If.
Look, I reckon a lot of people get a bit funny about renting gardens. They'll say to me, oh, I don't want to put a lot of effort in. But I guess for me, I'm a compulsive gardener. There's no doubt about it. But you can do things really quickly and easily and temporarily. So that's kind of what I do.
Like that?
Well, I built that for my front veranda at the old house. And so, yeah, it's just a couple of old pallets.
I want to see what's down the back. Big expectations for out the back.
Oh, don't. Come on, come and have a look. So, Jane, this is sort of the depths of the garden.
Love these.
Yeah, my nana canners. I got these from a friend, as you do with these sorts of plants, but they're one of my favourite rental garden plants because I can just dig up a clump whenever I move, take it to the new garden, replant it, and straight away I've got, bang, foliage.
And it sort of creates a little barrier, so you've got a little garden that's sort of secret.
Yeah, they're great. They're useful plants, really useful plants.
Veggies.
Yeah, veggies everywhere. Anywhere where there's some sun, I'll have a go at growing veggies.
Now, you're obviously a propagator, and I can see you've recycled material for the bench.
Yeah, that's a ripper bit of fence, isn't it? I think anyone who becomes a gardener has to propagate. It just becomes second nature. And definitely I grow most of my veggies from seed. I get a whole lot more variety that way and it's cheap as chips.
Yeah, well, talking of this, what a nice soft paving material this is.
Yeah, free.
Yeah.
This is all the stuff that people put in their green waste bins.
Yes.
And take to the tip and I just put it down.
You just top it up, do you?
Yeah, just every couple of months go get another ute load and top up the different spots. The chooks love it. They have a scratch.
Yeah.
They keep all the weeds down.
And I can see that the chook shed is made of recycled materials.
Yeah, this is my friend's old floorboards and just put them round a frame and use some branches again out of the thing and then I lock them up at night.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I like this, the bed springs.
I love bed springs. They're so useful. You know, instant fence.
Yeah. There's the spring base again, and there's the pepinos.
Well, yeah, usually people grow these along the ground and the snails get them and the mice get them. So here I just planted cuttings directly straight into the ground and in less than 18 months, absolutely covered and full of fruit.
Millie, you obviously really like recycling and salvaging stuff.
Well, there's stuff everywhere, Jane. You keep your eyes open and you can find all sorts of amazing things to use in the garden.
This, for instance.
Well, it's just sticks, you know, a wet, windy day. Old dog and I go down the park and pick up sticks, so I don't wiggle it too hard. But it's just a great, you know, fence. You can pull it down any time you like. It stops the chooks getting in there and the plants grow beautifully on it.
It's terrific. And then I love these kind of barrels and things.
Oh, these were a total score. I saw these in a skip bin and I knew instantly what they were going to be. So just fill the bottom with polystyrene, a little bit of potting mix, and then this is just the native kidney weed.
The dichondra.
Perfect sitting plant, Jane.
Thank you. I'm going to sit right here. That's lovely. Now, what's back here? Oh, I love this. That's a great idea, a teepee.
Well, it's my idea of making a focal point in less than 3 months. I think people think you have to wait a long time to grow a big tree, but, you know, I've got a stick, some string and some climbing beans.
I can imagine kids sort of playing in there.
Yeah, you can go in and pick your beans.
Oh, it's wonderful.
You know, I just think, just because a plant label says that it grows 1 metre by 2 metres, well, I don't think you have to let it do that. You can do all sorts of things with plants.
That's yummy. Well, from your point of view, what are your top tips? If you haven't got a lot of money and you're just getting started or you're renting, how do you have a garden?
Well, I just think you should have a go. Get to know where your local resources are. You know, the mower guy who's mowing the lawn, well, that can be in your compost, and the tree guy, well, that can be your mulch. And the more you learn about what's around you, the easier it is to just build something for nothing.
If you were told that you had to get out of here tomorrow or next week, how long would it take you to clear it?
You know, maybe it takes a couple of loads in the ute to get the pots out, and then we pull down the fences and, you know, rake the mulch over, and it's ready for the next person who wants to love it.
Now, while mowing the lawn is a bit of a chore for most of us, Jerry's made it easy by enlisting a band of little helpers.
I've got 3 rescue guinea pigs. This one is Radicchio, and the white one in there is called Bazella alba. There's also Harlequin. Now, in South America, guinea pigs have been bred for centuries. They're a traditional form of chicken. But in my home, I've got a golden rule. If they've got a name, they're not for dinner. I've been keeping guinea pigs since I was 6, and they make wonderful little lawn mowers. I've got a 60 square metre lawn, and they can mow it from April right the way through until November. That's a stocking rate of 1 guinea pig per 20 square metres of lawn. Now, in winter, they can eat the grass faster than it can grow, so to prevent scalping, I supplement their food. In summer, the grass grows too fast in our warm, wet weather here in Brisbane, so I have to resort to conventional mowing as well. Now, guinea pigs are not going to be everyone's favourite choice for mowing the lawn, but for me, well, they're a lifelong thing. They're companion animals, they're working animals, and they're part of my sustainable garden.
This beautiful place I'm at today is the Royal Botanic Garden here in Sydney. It's one of Australia's original gardens, and it was designed for scientific research and, of course, pleasure. Ever since it opened its gates way back in 1831, people have been coming here to stroll through, enjoy the plant collections and the impressive views of Sydney Harbour. Let's go over to John now, who's also in a garden that's been designed for relaxation and enjoyment.
I'm on the banks of the Yarra in Ivanhoe, a few kilometres upstream from Melbourne CBD. And on the slope above me is an acre of the most beautiful garden. It's only been established for 2 years, and yet it really looks mature because of the way in which the old and the new are married together. Come and have a look.
The lovely contrast in the greens.
Gareth LePage was the senior project manager charged with implementing this award-winning landscape design.
It was very difficult. We had small machinery coming through the garage down the narrow side of the house.
Yeah.
So we formed the wetland and did a lot of the shaping first before moving up the hill and establishing the rest of the garden.
What do you put the success of this marvellous garden down to?
I think it's working with the old rustic charm of the house. It was built in the 1800s, the first portion of the house,
Yep.
and then improving the connectivity through the garden, working with the old established trees,
Yep.
keeping machinery out of the base, the root zone of those trees, lots of watering during construction works, ensuring their health of the trees.
And the mulberry, I know she
Yes.
put a cable through just to hold
Yes,
it.
yeah, structurally I think it needed it, and it's brought it together and it's just preserved it.
The house is very comfortably scaled in relation to the garden. You don't get the sense that it's overwhelming it. I also like the way in which the terrace extends out into the garden through these steps. And looking down there into the shadows, there's a very real sense of mystery about what goes on down here. What gives this wonderful sense of mystery is the use of black bamboo. Its many stems and its foliage creates this great deep shade, so cool on a summer's day. Now, the pool area really is something else. It's beautifully private and sheltered, almost as if you're swimming within the middle of a forest. There are mature trees all around you. And then over here is the outdoor entertaining area. And because it's covered, you're going to have shade even in the hottest summer sun. And perhaps best of all over here is this splendid series of 3 seats. And the hedge of lily-pilly behind it curves around and is clipped down. And you can just loll here and really enjoy the summer sun. One of the principles of garden design that I think is really important is that of using massed planting. And here they've done it very well. For example, there's a mass of the Natchez crepe myrtle, this lovely white crepe myrtle. Then beneath here, a carpet of the silver helichrysum petiolari from South Africa. That looks absolutely splendid. A mass of gardenias. And over here, again from South Africa, tulbachia grown as a mass. Even the teucrium, this shrubby germander, which is clipped as topiary balls, is repeated to get maximum effect. But if any plant here really shows the value of mass planting, it's got to be this miscanthus from Japan. One plant of this simply wouldn't be enough. It's hard to believe that 25% of this garden is below the 100-year flood level. It's down here that the garden blends with the valley of the River Yarra. And here, native plants are used to create a great setting for these marvellous river red gums. There are plants like lomandras and dianellas and poas. The trees just look sensational against them. But over here, there's a special feature. In a formal garden, this might be a rectangular pond in the middle of a lawn reflecting the garden around it. But in this setting, an informal pond like this is absolutely perfect. Not only does it reflect these century-old trees around it, but it also provides the most marvellous little habitat for birds and other organisms to come into the garden. This is a garden that shows so many of the moods that a garden can reveal. And yet at the end of the day, like all gardens, it's really about relaxation and pleasure.
The most pleasure I get out of the garden is when I see my plants respond to a little bit of attention, whether it's composting, whether it's watering, or even just mulching. But you see them take it in and go, yeah, thank you.
The main buzz that I get, other than just gardening and getting in that lovely space, is to see the gardens that I've designed and built myself really come to life. And then the best thing of all is seeing my family use it and enjoy it.
Sowing. propagating, starting new life.
What gives me most pleasure? I think potting little things up into pots, but also pruning things. Over the good years, we've had immense growth, and I have enjoyed very much getting out there with the pruning saws and the secateurs and giving it a real good hard prune.
You know, I get a lot of pleasure from just sitting in the garden and having a meal with friends, enjoying the evening scents and perfumes, and just enjoying the garden as an outdoor room to be calm and relaxed and just entertaining.
Just being in the garden and doing anything, I don't really care what it is, but I find that if I don't get time in the garden, I get a little bit stressed and neurotic. So it's the best way for me to get grounded and down to earth.
Everything gives me pleasure in the garden, but if I had to pick one thing, probably digging in the soil with my hands.
If you were standing within 3 metres of me right now, you'd be overwhelmed by the aroma of this plant. It's called the passion fruit daisy. It's only got these subtle little flowers, but it's the foliage that gives off the scent, and it's overpowering. When it comes to fragrance, Sophie's really into it too, and she's making sure that there's plenty of it in her garden.
The sheer beauty of plants is something that all gardeners celebrate. But as wonderful as they are visually, there's another sense that can bring joy in the garden. Smell. Gorgeous plant perfumes give their own special pleasure. Now here I've got the beautiful Chinese star jasmine. I'm training it up the veranda post by my front door. Of course I'm using something flexible so it won't cut the plant's circulation off. But I love the fact that every time I walk past it, I get a waft of this beautiful perfume, and it also drifts inside. It's a really hardy plant, tough evergreen foliage, flowers from late spring right through summer. And the other thing I love about it is the fact that it will keep its foliage all the way down to the base, whereas many of the scented jasmines tend to become very leggy with foliage only up at the top. Now let me show you some other beautiful scented plants. This one here is the buddleia or butterfly bush. Ooh, a sweet, heavy tropical scent which the butterflies just love, and the honey-eating birds do too. Now the trick with these plants is to make sure that you deadhead them during their flowering season, and what that does is simply encourage more flowers. And at the end of the flowering season, which is going into autumn, basically give them a really hard haircut and take them down to 1/3, and then they'll be lovely and bushy for next year. I'm planting some thyme. Now thyme is a wonderful culinary herb, fantastic in Italian dishes like pizza or pasta, but it's also wonderful in the garden. The trick is you've got to put it somewhere where you can actually crush or bruise the foliage to get the aroma. Now planting it by this seat, what I'm anticipating is I'll be able to sit on the seat and my feet will rub over the top and the smell will be divine. I've also got it down in the veggie patch on the sides of the path, where I crush it as I walk by. Just outside the veggie garden, I've got an area where I'm growing scented foliage plants that I love. Things like the beautiful lemon-scented verbena. Crush it, it's got that pungent lemony scent, wonderful for herbal teas. I've got the cotton lavender or Santolina, and here is the wonderful rose-scented pelargonium. Beautiful to crush the foliage. But I'm adding another one. This particular plant is the fruity or fruit salad sage. It's called Salvia dorisiana. And when you crush the foliage or the stems, the oil glands release that wonderful pungent scent. Now the foliage looks a bit ordinary. However, the flowers are beautiful. They're bright rose pink, they're edible, they have a fruity flavour. They can be put in a fruit salad or in cool drinks. Ideally, it wants an area where it gets protection from the hot afternoon sun, and it doesn't like to dry out. Now this area might be a bit hot initially, but I'm hoping that once the tree grows, it'll get the protection it needs. One of my favourite scented plants is something that looks rather ordinary. It's Cestrum nocturnum, or the night-scented jessamine. Now don't confuse it with Cestrum parkii, which is weedy. This particular one has ordinary green foliage and insignificant small lemon yellow flowers. But after 6 o'clock at night in the warmer weather, those flowers release the most amazing scent of sweet custard powder. It fills the air, perfect for near an outdoor entertaining area or where it can waft inside through a window. The only thing is it's frost tender. Hopefully with this tree guard, I can protect it enough and it will survive, unlike the last one. I'm tip pruning this hedge of Artemisia Powis Castle to keep it compact. When you prune it, the smell is really pungent, and it's the oils that create this pungency that actually have a practical purpose. If I take the prunings and put them in where my chooks nest at night, it'll keep the mites away. So when choosing your plants, don't just go for the ones that catch your eye. Follow your nose as well. Is that good, girls?
Now, recently, I had the privilege of meeting someone who got into gardening late and loves it. This is Thomas and Ben. And this is their 0.4 hectare garden of tranquility in Bundanoon, in New South Wales' Southern Highlands. Walking through the garden here, I can't help but feel like it's a haven.
Aye, it is. And that was the intentions. I was 60 when I first came here, 66 now, and I just wanted a place where it could be peaceful, tranquil, get away from it all.
So why was that the priority?
Look, I've been working hard all my life, and it's very hard sometimes to just have peace of mind. Gardening of anything, I discovered does that. And you get great spirituality from plants, I think.
So what was your pathway to get into gardening?
Well, I wasn't interested in gardening until quite recently. I used to run a retreat centre and I had no gardening at all. And I decided to get some rootstock and put it into the ground. Lots of people would help me. And suddenly everything grew. Within a year, I had all this stuff. I thought, my God, it's so easy.
So when it comes to gardening for you, you're really a late bloomer.
You're never too late. You're never too late. Get on with it. Don't say no, you can do it. Honestly, you can do it.
What was your approach to the design of the garden?
Well, you know, I read in a book about different rooms being part of a good garden design. So that's what I did here. I decided to have different rooms with different textures, different themes.
Yeah.
As you can see, this is a Gavilia bush garden. I was told also that it was pretty easy to do, and that's very important. But the other thing that was really important to me was with this long area, I wanted a sense of mystery. And so you can go from one room to another room.
Yeah, and it's like a tease, really.
It is.
What's going on over there and how am I going to get there?
Yeah. The other thing that I really thought was important, I wanted texture. I wanted to understand more about texture and structure and colour. And I keep asking the question, what is green? And I can't give you an answer. There's just so many greens that fascinates me. And then, of course, you've got to have some nice fern as the entrance.
Yeah.
And then you look from here and you get a totally different view of the garden.
I like the fact that you can define rooms with simple things, like here we've gone from grass to pebbles.
Yep.
Here we've got vertical and horizontal bamboo, these posts, and they're saying, hey, there's a change.
Yep, and I wanted that. I wanted to say, hey, we're going into something quite different from the rest of the garden, another room.
And what is this room all about?
Well, my partner and I went to Japan a couple of years ago and I was really taken by the structure and precision of the Japanese gardens. Beautiful. I could not replicate them, but I wanted something which I'd call Australia-Japanese fusion. So you've got Australian plants and you've got some influence from Japan. Japan is really famous for its acers, and here's a typical example.
Yeah, these are one of my favourite trees.
Yeah. But the one that I really like is this one. Look at the difference in texture and structure, really curled up.
Yeah, this is the Shishigashira, and it just has this tight leaf form.
What did you call it again?
Shishigashira.
No, not for me. You know, we're in the Southern Highlands, and it's 700 metres up, and we get really cold winters, -8, and they love it. Just like in Japan, they love this, and the colours just bloom in the autumn. Wonderful time in the year.
So it just grew and grew.
Just grew. This happens. There's been nothing planned. You just do something. This is really special to me. You can tell I'm Scottish. I love moss. I've walked all over the hills of Scotland and the moss under my feet, and I thought, must have something like that in this part of my world, and found this.
It's a beautiful plant. This is Scleranthus biflorus, or Canberra grass.
Right.
And it just grows over rocks, it grows over the garden, and it creates a landscape that when you look at it, you feel like you're in an aeroplane above looking over the rolling hills of Scotland.
Well, that's how I feel when I look from here. I'm going up that hill. I wanted, I think, something peaceful and tranquil. And everywhere you go in the garden, all the places you can sit, you get that feeling in a different perspective. But the best of all is in the gazebo, having a gin and tonic as the sun goes down and just overlooking it and thinking, we've done this, I can't believe it. So great joy in the achievement of it.
Thomas reflects everything that I love about what gardening can be. It's an absolute pleasure to walk around and feel the results of his work. Well, that's it for another week. Next week, we have our first special of the year with a program dedicated to resources. We'll be looking at what we bring into our homes and gardens and what leaves them, to see how we can use what some call waste, but what we'd prefer to call resources. We'll begin in my backyard and then see how waste is being managed on a larger scale, including resource recovery. Jane will be visiting a school community that's leading the way, and we'll be offering simple solutions to waste management for all of us to try at home. It's something really close to my heart, and I hope you can join us then. But until next week, get out there and enjoy your garden.
John Patrick here. If you have missed an episode of Gardening Australia and want to catch up, it couldn't be simpler. Just go to our website or ABC iView. Happy gardening!